Everybody, it's Chad with Nobody Else's Auto. It is 7 o'clock Sunday evening, time for Sunday night live chat. We are live on both YouTube and Facebook, so we will give everybody a few seconds to get their notifications and get on with us, and we'll get rolling here shortly. Rico and Jess are here with us. Kevin from Houston's on with us already. Glad you guys made it tonight. We'll get the Facebook notifications going and see if any of that's going to cooperate. So, haven't been having much luck with Facebook at all lately, so we'll see what happens. I thought you might like that, Jess. Yeah, that's kind of a cool clock. It's actually Addie's. So, Glenn from Minnesota's on Facebook. We'll see what's going to happen there. I've already gotten one error message on Facebook, so we'll see what it's going to do for us tonight. And based on our luck lately, not much, but we'll see what happens. And we'll see if it hangs in there. As always, we are on. If you're on Facebook and continue to have issues like we've been having, we are on YouTube as well. You can jump on and watch on YouTube and still comment on Facebook. Oscar's on with us. Glad you made it. Lee from New York's on. Good group jumping on with us again tonight. No, Kevin, I've not heard anything on the fiber other than as soon as the boring machine frees up, they're going to run it. That's all I know. But that's what they've been telling me for 2.5 months now. That as soon as the utilities company can free up, get a boring machine over here, they're going to run this whole area. There's a bunch of city shop buildings down here and me and stuff, and they're going to try to run all of that. So all I can do is hurry up and wait for them to run it, and as soon as they run it, we'll be on it, and we'll see what happens. Dan from Defiance is on with us. Glad you made it. We've got some people jumping on with us on Facebook, but we are still having issues. I'm still getting error messages on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook and it's not cooperating, you can sure jump over to YouTube and watch over there as well. Nicholas is on with us. Glad you made it, Nicholas. Your paperwork is actually in the mail, so it's on the way to you right now. Number one, it's never Rambler time. It's Miller time. Chris is on with us. Glad you made it. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep rolling. We're going to do our thing, even if Facebook doesn't cooperate. YouTube has still been working at least, so if nothing else, we'll work with that, and hopefully some of our Facebookers can jump over to YouTube if it continues to be a problem. Sounds great, Nicholas. We'll be talking to you tomorrow. First things first, real quick. Next Sunday, we're not going to be here. We're going to hit the road, get away for a couple days. I don't know exactly where I'm going to end up next Sunday night after we get on the road. We kind of just got an area or a place where we're going to head towards, but I don't know where I'm going to be. So we'll just plan on skipping next week. I'll just letting everybody know right now that it'll be 2 weeks before we're back on. And I'll still be posting regular videos and things like that while I'm out on the road, but we won't be live on Sunday night. We'll be back 2 weeks from tonight, which will be the first when we're going to do the raffle giveaway and things like that. So next week, we're going to skip because I don't know where I'm going to be when 7 o'clock Sunday night rolls around. So number one, a boring machine. That's an electric car. Well, that's another way to put it. These are the directional boring machines where they got to go under the street and under parking lots and under my driveway and shoot the fiber up right in between both of my buildings so that they can run it into both of my shops. So I'll have fiber over in my new building as well as this one, and then I can run anything I want in either one of those two buildings. So if you're commenting on Facebook, it's not feeding me, and it is still giving me error messages. So that's what we're still up against there. So if you are having feed issues, be sure to jump over onto YouTube and check out what's going on over there. Anyway, what's been going on this week? As usual, all kinds of things. I don't know if you guys caught them or not, but exciting things going on at the SRCA drag strip. I know we talk about that on here quite a bit, but that's because it's right here. It's my track. And that's where we hang out a lot, and I help them a lot with a lot of their stuff. I can't get lack of fiber out of greens on this one, number one. That isn't going to do me any good. So I just wish they'd get it in here and see if it helps our situation or if there's some settings that are wrong. Or I did a little bit of research on these error messages that I'm getting on Facebook, and it is related to a feed issue. So we'll see what happens. Lance from Utah's on. When is the love walk around? I don't know when I'm going to get to those loves. there's 2 of them over on that deal, and I have no idea when I'm going to get those hauled in. Billy from Texas is on. Van's on. He's a fan of the clock as well on Facebook. But yeah, I don't know when I've got those 2 Loves coming in. I did look at one of them the other day. The one that's outside, it is a 4 headlight, so I think it's an earlier one, if I remember correctly. But that's about all I know of it. It is on. It is going to be on a video on one of the farmyard walk around videos, but we don't get into any detail on it. We walk by it and kind of show a little bit of glimpse of that one. The one that's buried in the building, to this day I have no idea what it is, none whatsoever. So I'll find out when we get in the building and start taking it out, I guess, whenever that comes around. But the SRCA drag strip, as you all know, we've talked about it on here before. I hope you've caught some of the videos on either their Facebook page or the YouTube channel for the SRCA drag strip. But here in Great Bend, Kansas, the drag strip was the home of the very first national event that NHRA ever held in 1955. And we have a brand new facility now. They completely tore up the entire drag strip, took it clear down into the dirt, built it back from scratch, brand new, 3/4 of a mile, 60-foot wide concrete with concrete walls, and finished it up and ran a few events on it. Rocky Mountain Race Week ran here. And now that we've got some run data on it, and now that the concrete is cured, now they're doing some final finishing work, which basically entails grinding the entire track. We've had some machines out there this week, and like I said, the videos are posted. Big, huge machine that goes up and down the track extremely slowly and goes over every inch of it and checks the height. They set it at a 0 height and back up and down the track, and it takes off a 32nd of an inch of concrete at a time, making sure that everything trues up. What the reason they have to do this, and this is something that I didn't even know, obviously concrete and it changes, but I didn't realize how much concrete moves. But concrete can move quite a bit. And when they were pouring sections, and I guess this is anywhere, because that's what this equipment that was out there this week is specifically designed to do. Highways, bridges, airport runways, anything that is a huge, big, massive concrete pour, they have these machines that go over it back and forth extremely slowly. They have a semi water truck that runs with it that is that's actually hooked to the machine with hoses that pumps water to the machine, the grinding machine, and all the slurry as it's grinding these tiny, minute edges down, so that you're not dealing with all this slush and dust and everything out on the track. Nicholas says we're getting a little bit of stutter on YouTube, so hopefully that clears out. And Facebook appears to be somewhat hanging in there, so we'll see how it goes. So hopefully things continue to work, but we'll keep our fingers crossed that technology is going to cooperate. So it was pretty interesting to actually go through all that, see what it actually how it actually happens. And like I said, we got some cool video on it. And there again, we're talking about, there were a few spots they found maybe like an 1/8 of an inch discrepancy, but some of these really fast cars, they can feel that. So it's been back and forth very slowly. It basically took them if they're not done yet, they're getting really close. They started last Monday. So basically about 5 or 6 days of just driving back and forth, up and down that track, checking for discrepancies and taking them down a 32nd of an inch at a time on a 3/4 mile, 60-foot wide chunk of concrete. But but that's what you got to do to make these things right, be able to handle these fast cars. The company that is doing this is actually a lot of drag strips because of the exact same thing. As the concrete cures, it moves, it curls, and they just need to true those edges up, and that's what they've been doing here. So be sure to check those videos out. It's pretty interesting. And when you think about a piece of concrete that big and what it takes to make it that flat and that smooth and that perfect to run these fast race cars on, pretty interesting. So we've got Big Job just got on with us. Glad you made it tonight, Big Job. So neat deal. Pretty exciting thing. We've got, the city behind this track, which is an amazing partnership that the city of Great Bend is behind. It's actually behind our racetrack. The city actually owns our racetrack. I saw just the other day that Houston Raceway Park gone. After next year, no more Houston Raceway Park. The national event, everything, the entire track is getting torn down for a warehouse. So Houston Raceway Park is gone. You know, E-Town is gone. We've been losing a ton of racetracks, and I know it's not just drag strips. That's one cool thing about Great Bend, Kansas. The city owns the complex where it's at. It is at the drag strip is specifically at an event complex, rodeo arena, motocross track, drag strip, big huge buildings for events, and they support everything that happens out there. Old School's on with us. Glad you made it tonight, Old School. And it's a really unique situation to have a city that is behind a racetrack as opposed to one that is trying to get rid of it. And that's what has helped, you know, the city's backing, the city's support in what's been going on with this new facility is amazing and second to none. So be sure to check it out. If you're anywhere near here, you know, get out here and check it out at some point. If you're a racer, would love to see you out here. But really cool. And this thing is going to be by far one of the best tracks in anywhere in the country. Old School says auto racing is dying a slow death, and there is some truth to that, Old School, but not here in Great Bend, Kansas, which is kind of cool. That the track where Wally Parks chose to have the very first national event in 1955 is literally brand new and is set up for generations to come. As long as there's interest in it, this facility is going to be here, and it's second to none. It's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. And really excited to see what the future brings for it. And it's not going to get run out by development, hopefully. So that's another big thing. Just like, you know, some of these big tracks, E-Town and Houston Raceway Park, these are big tracks, and they're getting gobbled up by development and going away. So are they going to race electric cars? Oh, that's a possibility. There's some people starting to race electric cars, but it, you know, the internal combustion engine isn't gone yet. So it, still lots of cool things happening. There's lots of cool race cars being built, lots of cool events. Now is the atmosphere of auto racing going to change? 100%. I firmly believe that we're going to see some big shifts in auto racing. I see it in drag racing. I don't know how much, you know, we're going to see it in circle track because I don't follow that as closely. That's right, Kevin. It is all about the money. And there's some of this stuff that the dollars come in and the tracks get sold when it gets that crazy. Kevin's on with us on Facebook. Glad you made it. Hopefully you guys are hanging in there. But, you know, we see the popularity of these, well, they call them no prep kings, you know, basically, you know, the stuff we see on TV, the street outlaw stuff, you know, and a lot of that stuff, it's, you know, it's not totally no prep. I mean, some of those tracks, they don't prep them every pass, but a lot of those places they go, they've got rubber down and things like that. They don't prep them continually throughout the day, but they're not running on bare concrete on any of that stuff. But those type of races, the drag and drive events, Hot Rod Drag Week, obviously Rocky Mountain Race Week, we've been involved with that for several years and huge fans of that. And I see that stuff gaining more and more and more popularity over your basic bracket race and to a certain extent your national events. Nicholas, roll racing just means you can't 60 foot. Yeah, well, you can, but you're already moving pretty good by then. But that's another good point. Roll racing, half mile top speed, that type of stuff is gaining so much popularity that bracket racing, bracket racing hasn't been real strong in the last several years, and national events haven't been real strong. Some of the other exciting stuff that I see coming up that you see pulling big crowds that people love, Funny Car Chaos, Midwest Pro Mods, that type of stuff I see gaining more and more popularity versus a lot of the big name national event type stuff, because a lot of the national events, it's gotten so expensive. It's all about sponsors. You know, Midwest Pro Mods, Funny Car Chaos, tons of cool cars, bright paint schemes, cool names, kind of back when drag racing was really exciting, and that stuff is bringing the excitement back. You know, obviously there's a few Nitro Pro Mods out there. You know, my buddy Scotty Palmer with Studezilla, you know, J.R. Sandlin with the Bad Attitude Chevelle. You know, that stuff is nutso, and people love it. But it's cool, it's different, and it's not the same thing going down the track with different sponsor stickers like we see in NASCAR and like we started to see a lot in NHRA and things like that. Yeah, another thing Lance says, diesel drag racing getting huge. We've already been contacted by a diesel group that wants to race here at Great Bend within the next year or two. Old school, hope electric cars don't become the norm. Like I said, I don't, the internal combustion engine, it's not gone yet. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that there's still going to be support. We're still going to be able to buy gas for them. But that's where I don't see racing going away. I see racing shifting. And shifting dramatically from the national event and bracket racing that everybody's been, very comfortable with for the last 50 years. I see things changing a lot. Williams on with us. Glad you made it, because you see the popularity of Rocky Mountain Race Week. You see the popularity of drag racing or of Drag Week. You see the popularity of No Prep Kings, the roll racing, the half mile stuff. We've been in contact with a couple of groups in that venue that want to run at Great Bend. So it's a pretty amazing deal. Then I don't think what they've done at our track is second to none, and I think that's where the future of racing is going. I don't think it's dead. I think it's going to change, and it's going to change for the better. We need some excitement back in it. We need something that's going to get people excited about coming out and seeing the races and seeing the cars and seeing the drivers and watching the burnouts and things like that. That's what's cool. And these are the events that people like, and that's what's going to bring them out. That's what you got to do and what you got to bring in. But there's more and more people going to it. Thanks, Dan. Dan agrees with me as well. You see a lot of these guys running Funny Car Chaos. You see a lot of these guys running Midwest Pro Mods. A lot more of this grassroots stuff with really cool stuff, cool cars, bright colors, cool names, and they're not all the same thing with different stickers. So that's what you've got to consider if you're going to be involved with a drag strip like I am. You've got to watch all that stuff. You've got to watch those trends. You've got to see where it's going. And that's what's happening, and that's what people dig. And I mean, I like that stuff. The Funny Car Chaos stuff, so many cool different bodies, so many different cool paint schemes. All that stuff is so neat and so cool. So basically, that's my opinion on motorsports. It's going to change. Now, the circle track stuff, I don't follow it that close. I don't know if they're doing different things in circle track or if they have different types of events with circle track that that they may be shifting to or not. But obviously the drag strip stuff is what I'm much more heavily involved in, and that's what I see. Yeah. And that old school brings up another good point. If government schools continue to brainwash kids about how bad oil is, how bad internal combustion is, then you're not going to get those kids excited. And there's some truth to that. However, there are a lot of kids that are excited about it. And we talk about this quite a bit on here and on some of my other videos, that it is not the fact that kids aren't into cars. A lot of them are, but it's different cars. It's not the stuff that we're used to. 69 Camaros don't mean a lot to some of these new kids. The kids that are younger now, are the kids that just graduated, were born in 2003. They have no ties to a 69 Camaro whatsoever, unless their dad happened to have one or something. They didn't grow up around them. They didn't see them in the high school parking lot. Their friends didn't have them. So it's a whole different deal. And it's a lot of differences in what they like versus what we have normally thought of as being the collector car world. And we continue to see that happen. We're going to see that happening in motorsports as well. And just like the comment about the diesel trucks, 100%, something that we never would have thought of, even 5 or 10 years ago. It was starting to come around, but now we have associations strictly racing diesel trucks. Part of that next shift, part of that next generation, something that we all need to be cognizant of when we go to car shows, races, cruise nights, cars and coffees, anything. It's going to be different stuff because everything shifts. Motorsports are shifting. The collector car hobby is shifting. It's all shifting and it's all changing. So that's something we all need to be aware of. So let's not count it out yet. And all of us can help promote that, help push it. When we go to these car shows, when we go to cruise-ins, if we're at races, take your kids with you. Take your neighbors' kids with you. Take your nieces and nephews with you. Get them involved. Explain things to them. Get them excited about it. It's our job as stewards of the hobby to help bring them in, even if they like different stuff, help bring them in and get them excited about it so that we can keep them moving forward and keep this hobby moving forward. So we're the stewards of that, even if they like different stuff. Next thing that's getting ready to come up, that I'm going to catch next week. KKOA in Salina, Kansas. Custom Kemps of America. They have a huge show in Salina every year. We try to go. We don't always catch it, but we've been, well, of course, last year we couldn't go, but the last 6 or 8 years, I probably missed 1 or 2 other than last year. So we try to catch it on a fairly regular basis, but not always. But it's a great show. I got it up here on the other computer, so we've got a little bit of the details to go over. July 22nd through the 25th, the KKOA Lead Sled Spectacular in Salina, Kansas. This is a big show. 2,000, 2,500 people, or 2,000, 2,500 cars. Big deal. And great show. And tons of cool cars. Nate, a lot of truth to that. My 6-year-old and I went to a car show this weekend, and when I asked him what we should take, he wanted to take the 93. He wanted to take the 93 Thunderbird instead of the 65 Cadillac. Perfect example. Our friend Nate is, like you said, his 6-year-old thought that, thinks the 93 Thunderbird is cool because it's a different generation. And that is, a 93 Thunderbird is almost a 30-year-old car. That's the crazy part about it. So Jess and Rico are going to KKOA this weekend. Look forward to seeing them there. Hopefully some more of you guys are going to make it. If you do, definitely stop me and say hi. Maybe we can see some more of you there. But quite a deal. They have an auction Friday at noon. And then they have, and this is something I've never been to. I've always wanted to go, but I've never gotten up there on Friday night. They have Run What You Brung drags out at the airport, which is just all kinds of cool stuff racing. I think my buddy Mike Newkirk's taking the R.C. Williams twin engine dragster up there, packing a set of Gen 1 Hemis in it, blown Gen 1 Hemis. Actually, the 1971 NHRA Top Gas World Champion. I think they're getting that car ready to take up there this year. They typically take that up there and do some big burnouts with it. So, number one, I guess the Fox body alternates. That's what's cool about a 93 Bird. And there's some truth to that. That's why Fox bodies are getting popular. Those Thunderbirds. You got to remember that late 80s, early 90s Thunderbird, rear wheel drive. They made the Super Coupes. They made some cool stuff out of some of those cars. So, and they're old now, as crazy as that is. So the Run What You Brung drags are always cool. I see a lot of video and stuff. I've just never actually made it to that. They have pinup contests. They have a bike show. They have some super cool bicycles there. Some really cool antique bikes. Actually, that's how I started buying bicycles. My daughter and I bought one 5 or 6 years ago, a real clean, original paint, old Schwinn from the 50s. And we've actually bought 3 or 4 more since then. But super cool bicycle show. And then they have the actual car show itself. That's right. Number one, a 93 T-Bird looks like a spaceship to a 6-year-old. And it probably does. I mean, that's something totally different than the cars that they're used to seeing out on the streets today. It is completely and totally different. So that's another good point. But at the show on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they have a lot of cool stuff going on there. They have some guys actually working on cars, doing demonstrations on making some modifications on some of that stuff. Number one, if I find a Kuhara BMX, never even heard of a Kuhara BMX, so can't help you out on that one. Most of the bikes we've been buying are 50s era stuff, so I don't think they had BMXs back then. But they have one of the stars from My Three Sons, Tina Cole from My Three Sons is going to be there. Christopher Atkins from the movie Blue Lagoon is going to be there. I don't recognize any of those names. Old School has an 85 Herosport BMX. The BMX from the E.T. movie. Okay, that's which one we're talking about. That makes sense. World famous customizers, Keith Dean Darrell, Cliff Starbird, Gene Winfield. Gene Winfield's been at this show for years. So they've got One Night with Elvis tribute concert with an Elvis Presley tribute artist, KKOA Hall of Famers, valve cover races. I mean, just so much cool stuff. Of course, the award ceremony on Sunday at 1, and just tons of cool stuff. So be sure to check that out. Custom Kemps of America is their website. It's got all the details on there, pre-69 customs and hot rods, and post 70s new concept customs. So awesome deal and a great show. Like I said, if you're anywhere near it, it's well worth checking out. Kevin says that to me, the true classics are 70 and earlier. And that's true, Kevin. But there again, that's one thing we're coming up into is a whole difference of opinion with the next generation as to what is an old car. And, a lot of people ask me a lot of questions about that type of stuff. And, for what I look for, Model A's, I have no interest in buying Model A stuff. Don't even hardly look for it. If I stumble onto it, I might pick some of it up. I have no interest in pursuing Model A stuff. But that's because that stuff is just, this new generation isn't into it. Hot rods are considered 68 and earlier. That's what they said. Pre-69 is what they've got it listed as. Dan says, Gene just had a birthday. Yeah, I think he's in his mid-90s, and he still goes out and does all these shows. It's really great to see him out and active and doing all that. So it's a great deal, and I'm excited about going. We're going to try to make it Saturday. So hopefully you see some of you there. We'll try to maybe shoot a little bit of video while we're there and try to post a little bit. But there's just so much cool stuff there and so much stuff going on. But it's a great show. It really is a great show. So anyway, that's what's been going on. Let's check out an old Hot Rod magazine and see what else has been going on and give away an oil can and some things like that. So be sure to stay tuned. Check out the KKOA website, customcampsofamerica.com. And keep an eye peeled for videos from there if you can't make it. It's a great show and going to be cool. Mike says this kid walked past his 03 Sport Track, which was the little Explorer pickup, and said, "Cool old truck." But that's there's some truth to that. There really is. Number one says there's a chopped shoebox in Shoebox Ford in his neighborhood for sale that Gene chopped. More out there, like he chops like 25 cars a year. Gene Winfield is really amazing. I've met him several times at these events and super cool. In fact, one time he actually took some time out and took my daughter behind the ropes and welded with her and showed her some welding tips. So that was pretty exciting to, have her get a lesson, so to speak, from Gene Winfield, because just like number one says, the guy's legendary. He's done so much cool stuff. And he is the master at a lot of that customizing. It's so great to see him in the 90s and still out being able to attend shows and get out and do this stuff. Number one says Gene's the only guy to get 25 hours out of a day. There's probably a lot of truth to that. But he's done a lot of cool stuff over the years. Anyway, let's check out a magazine. This magazine was a little bit of a challenge for me. Because everything in it's cool. That made it a little tough. So we'll try to keep moving through it. There's no way to look at all of it because we could spend 2 hours going through every page of it because there's so much cool stuff on it. And that's right. Dan brings up another great point. He is a super good guy. He really is. Gene Winfield is a great guy. Just like the fact he took my daughter behind the ropes and taught her some welding stuff. He did not have to do things like that, but he does it because he is a super guy. But tonight's magazine, this is a really early one. We're going to go back almost 70 years to November of 1951 for the Hot Rod magazine from November of 1951. Cool little 32 on the front. And, this is I think Hot Rod started in 48. So this was just, they were only 3 years in when this issue came out. Let's see, Chad. Yeah, I do buy a lot of parts, Chad, all the time. It just depends on, where you're at, and the logistics of getting things and stuff like that. So, yeah, I buy cars and parts every week. But the November 1951 issue of Hot Rod magazine, this magazine is a little bit fragile. I've got to be a little bit careful with it. But so much cool stuff in it. It was a little tricky just trying to pick out what we were going to hit because there's so much cool stuff in it. But the obvious place to start when I saw this article, we have to do it. Bonneville. 3rd annual Hot Rod event attracts thousands to Salt Flats. The 3rd annual Bonneville. Like I said, I'm trying to be careful with this thing because it is fairly fragile. The front cover is loose, but so much cool stuff in here I wanted to show you guys. Just kind of weird here to be, in 2021 and Bonneville being such a staple in our hobby, to read a headline that says the 3rd annual. And the cool thing about this is so many great pictures. This is a multiple page article. So we'll try to get some of these. I'll try to hold them up here for a few seconds on each page so you guys can check them out. Even had Alex Zidius, the SoCal tanker, the pictures of it in 51. And there's just so many great pictures in the thing that it's hard to catch them all. So many great hot rods, so many old tankers, streamliners. We didn't know a lot about, these guys didn't know a lot about, about streamlining, about what wind did, things like that, about drag. This is when they were just learning, studying, trying to make something work. And, the speeds in here, some of the stuff was, hitting 100 miles an hour back then. So a few more pages from Bonneville with just some great pictures. Like I said, we could spend 2 hours just on this one magazine alone. There's so much cool stuff in it. But definitely wanted to give you guys an opportunity to check out some of this stuff. We'll catch one more page of it because this is just such a great shot. Like I said, there's so much of this stuff we could spend an hour on it. But, man, there's a lot of cool stuff in here that I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to see. Yeah, Kevin says some of them look like soapbox cars. Yeah, there wasn't much more to that than some of them. But we'll flip forward here a little bit to the cover car called the Collegiate Coupe, which was the 32 that was on the cover, the red one. Just a real, of course, not a lot, not color inside, but just a really clean, Merc-powered flathead 5-window. So, yeah, there's some, so just a really clean little car, but obviously it made the cover, and kind of neat to see the old school technology and the way they did it. Did they have weird ads that early, says number one? Yes, we've got a ton of ads. Once again, of course, all the ads in here are cool. So there again, that was a little bit of a challenge to, pick out what we're going to show you. Big Job, is it true the salt flats are slowly disappearing? Yes, they have been disappearing due to mining. I believe it's potash that they mine out of there, which I don't know what that is. Number one says, was it an East Coast car? I don't even know if it said where it was from. I don't remember. I'll skim it here real quick. It says the flame job was done in Linwood. I think that's in California, if I'm guessing correctly. So I believe that would make it a West Coast car, if that's what I'm reading into that. East Coast style, yeah. But due to the mining at the Bonneville Salt Flats, the salt has been disappearing. There's been massive lawsuits over the last 10 or 15 years directly related to that, and I haven't read anything about it in quite a while, so I'm not extremely up to date about it. But the mining company that has been mining potash, okay, there we go, old school. Potash is primarily used in fertilizers to support plant growth. Perfect. Thanks, old school. But to get that, they were sucking off the salt to get the potash and not replenishing it due to some massive lawsuits by, and I think even the state of Utah was involved when they realized what was going on. They have been forced to replenish that and continue to hopefully replenish it and build. So keep our fingers crossed that reversal process is being maintained and will continue to be maintained so that the salt flats do not go away. Old school, small quantities are used in manufacturing potassium-bearing chemicals such as detergents. Okay, so there we go. We got a little bit of education on potash from old school, so thanks for that. Appreciate it. But yeah, that's what's been going on at the salt flats. I've been there one time. It was about 10 years ago. We went out. I had some buddies that took a little S15 Sonoma out with an LS and they were running over 200 in. Awesome thing, awesome event. So excited I got to go and go check it out one time. But that's what has been going on with that. Number one, the protection that the hot rod and the NHRA community supported and gave was way better than just simple erosion. So that's good. Yeah, that's what they needed to happen, because, like I said, if they continued to mine it, they could have destroyed it, and if they had never replenished any of it. Let's see what's next. Like I said, there's so much stuff in here. We just kind of had to pick and choose a little bit. But here's something that's a little bit different. This article kind of stood out as being a little bit different and weird. The pint-sized powerhouse, the Crosley 4. And this was literally a hot rodding article about doing a 4-cylinder Crosley, which was kind of interesting. I didn't know there were a lot of performance parts for 4-cylinder Crosleys, but apparently there are. So, or there were. There probably isn't now, but there were. These were tiny little engines. I mean, you could almost pick one of these up by yourself. Two guys could easily carry one of these engines around, and one big guy could easily carry one of these engines around by himself. If you could make one of these things make good power, they were extremely lightweight. So, that was something that you could do. This, shows it right down there working on a little, I think those were a Crosley Hot Shot, I think is what they call it, kind of a little sporty car. But yeah, engine modifications for a 4-cylinder Crosley, something you're not going to see pop up in a new magazine today. Let's see. California, number one, California sold lots of cars and imported lots of Bolt ones available in Britain and Europe. Kind of lost me on that one. Number one, not sure where we're at on that. Next car we're going to check out, Miller's Missile, a Model T kind of / streamliner. That was the first page. We've got kind of a nice page. What was the horsepower? I don't know what the horsepower rating was on the final deal on the Crosley engine. I don't remember what that was. But the Miller Missile, and we'll look. I think that article went clear into the back, so we may look when we get back towards the back of the magazine. Dan, Crosley pickups are cool. Yep, that's true. Oh, number one, bolt-ons for weird little Euro cars. Okay, yeah, that would make sense. Oh, Mike says, I thought those were Continental engines. No, they were well, I think they said Crosley on them. I mean, who knows who made them? They may have had somebody else make them and put their name on them. But the Miller Missile. What was cool about this was this actually had a cutaway sketch. They're again pretty high tech in 1951 to show how that flathead was set up in that car in the Miller Missile back in 1951. Okay, like I said, just everything in here is cool. So we are going to have to skip over some stuff just because we're going to have to. But let's see, what's the next thing we want to check out? And like I said, this magazine, it's trying to fall apart. So here was kind of a cool article. And there again, this is, technology that we're used to today, but back in 1951 was state of the art. Prove it on the dyno. And they've got a Mercury flathead with Arden heads on it on the dyno, which was pretty cool. Said they got it to make 303 horse on the dyno. So I thought that was pretty neat. That was crazy technology back in the day to have an engine dyno, Arden heads on a flathead in 51, obviously, early Arden heads. So a lot of neat things happening in these couple of pictures from this 1951 magazine. Number one says Crosley pickups had a bigger engine bay than a truck bed. They didn't have much of an engine bay either, though. So let's get to some of the ads. Yeah, number one, all mechanical dyno too. Yeah, there was no digital readouts or nothing. It was all mechanical. The ads are so cool. And like I said, I picked and choose because literally we could look at every one of them in here and it's cool. So I kind of picked and choose some to pick some out that I thought were cool that we could look at. Starting with right here on the inside cover. The reason this kind of stood out is because of partially the article that we just talked about, plus some other stuff. The Crosley article. This is from the Newhouse Automotive Industry Company. And they actually had Kaiser Continental kits available. But over here, there were the speed and performance parts for the Crosley's, Crosley racing equipment. So I don't know, maybe this because they bought the inside cover, maybe that's why they did an article on the Crosley engines or something. I don't know. I'm sure that happened, back in the day, especially in 1951 when Hot Rod was only a couple years old. I'm sure they probably would have to do things like that. You buy some advertising, we'll help you out. But some of the Crosley stuff, the racing style manifold for single carburetor was $19.95. The aluminum valve cover was $16.94. The Crosley hot cams, precision 3/4, full or semi grind, was $25. Cast aluminum oil pan was $38.50. That's and those today sound like peanuts, nothing. But you got to remember, Crosley's didn't, used Crosley wasn't much more than that. A used Crosley was probably $150 for the whole thing driving down the street. So Jess is a Crosley fan. She loves them. And they are neat little cars. They really are. So there again, to look back at this, 70 years later, it's pretty cool. Next ad, we're going to check out more customizing. And this is from the Eastern Auto Supply Company. And they had multiple types of different things here. Like I said, I'm trying to be careful because this thing is brittle. But they had grill pieces, recessed headlight bezels, fender skirts, dual carb setups. So a really cool ad there as well with a lot of cool stuff on it. And there again, both custom and performance stuff, dual point distributor. And, you got to remember, this is 1951. The overhead valve Oldsmobiles and Cadillacs had only been out for 2 years. There were some flathead V8s. Ford had the flathead V8. Cadillac had flathead V8s. But 1951, there was not a lot of V8 stuff out there to be had. V8 stuff. Next ad we're going to check out. This is for a car show. The Motorama in L.A., the Pan Pacific Auditorium. Check out the Motorama coming up. Big full-page ad in Hot Rod Magazine for a car show. So, number one, Olds and Caddy were 53. No, they came out 2 years before that. 49 is when Olds and Cadillac came out with an overhead valve V8. They'd been out for 2 years at this point when this magazine was printed. So there were not a lot of them out there readily available for hot rodders at that point. And that's right, Kevin, about everything in the magazine is black and white. Other than, a little bit of red, but not, as far as actual color, I don't think there's any actual color pictures in here. Next ad, the Dunn Engineering Company for the new Dunn track cams. $37.50 for your Ford or Mercury V8 for the new track cams. Or, $27.50 exchange even on some of the other cams. So kind of crazy to think about, but you think about that was a ton of money in 1951. Let's skip forward here a little bit. Trying to be careful with this thing so it doesn't fall apart on me. Here's one that we've seen before, the Almquist Company. Almquist Engineering and Manufacturing from Pennsylvania. The speed equipment of champions. And this is all pretty much performance stuff. Finned aluminum heads, dual carb intakes, spacer plates, cams. We've talked about Almquist on here before. We've seen them in a lot of these magazines we looked at from the 50s. So I thought that one was cool and worth checking out too. Let's see. Since we always give away an oil can and talk a lot about oil cans here, I thought this one was cool. We've got the Jet Supply ad with flipper caps and things like that, but we've also got a super cool ad here for Stay Lube racing oil with a really great can graphic on it as well, if we can see it, if the camera will pick that up. So, also you can order caddy fins too. I just noticed that. I seen the caps, but you can also order caddy fins. Also a pretty popular accessory back in the 50s to add Cadillac style fins to any car. Another ad that I thought was pretty cool. SoCal Speed Shop. Obviously, SoCal Speed Shop, iconic in today's world, has been around literally forever. We just saw the SoCal the SoCal belly tanker in the pictures from Bonneville. And here was their ad for this month's issue. Add a point, going to dual point distributors, order from the SoCal Speed Shop. Kevin, how much was the magazine? Cover price was 25 cents. That's how much it was on the newsstand in 1951. Another cool ad, and actually this is kind of a double shot in one column. Mike, Hartzell Supercharger started in Denver about that time. I don't remember seeing any ads in those for those, but that's definitely something to keep an eye out for as we get into some of these old magazines. This article or this ad, there again over here on the right side, but a pretty cool one. We've got Edelbrock on top, obviously extremely well known even today. A little lesser known below them, the McGurk Engineering Company. McGurk was well known for dual carb intakes. So, two classic old school performance parts companies ads right there on that page. So Chopper One's on with us. Glad you made it back. You're right. We haven't seen you in a while. Glad you got on tonight for a while. Let's see. Let's catch a couple more of these. This one was kind of cool. As far as the custom thing, you could get America's largest and most complete hot rod shop, the Hot Rod Shop in Detroit, Michigan. And they had badges. They had ways you could put your own initials on these separate little badges they sold and stuck them on your cars. All kinds of just cool little trinket stuff that they had available from the Hot Rod Shop in Detroit, Michigan in 1951 to customize your car and personalize your car. I thought that was kind of cool the way they had that, even those little things like that were, advertised in here. Another ad that we saw, and like I said, we could look at every ad in here, but we'd be on here all night. There's a couple of them here as well. This one is cool with Bonneville stuff, and I even had a little bit of color to it. But this lower one here was where you could order juice brakes for your Ford. Today we think about hydraulic brakes, and everything's had hydraulic brakes for so long. In 1951, upgrading to juice brakes on a 30s Ford was a pretty big deal, and you could order your kit right here to upgrade. We upgraded to discs on everything. They were just upgrading to get to hydraulic brakes. One other cool thing that was in this magazine that we're going to check out, and then we'll get moving on. And it actually just fell out. It was actually still folded in, but this actually it still had a subscription card in it. This was actually in the staple part that was folded, and it just fell out when I was looking at it. But you can subscribe to Hot Rod Magazine for 1 year for $3, 2 years for $5. And there was your subscription card. You could fill that out, your name and address, check, money order, or cash, and you subscribe to Hot Rod Magazine for $3. So, I thought that was cool that was still in there. And like I said, this magazine's a little bit weak, so try to be careful with it. I want to get it back in the sleeve after we get done here, but so much cool stuff in there. I wanted to show it to you, including the original subscription cards. So, yeah, that's right, Chopper One. Anything's better than the old rod style brakes. Yeah, those didn't stop much of anything. So it was neat to see that that pop up on there as well. So anyway, let's get into some trivia. Let's talk about the raffle. Let's talk about some new inventory. And let's talk about some new videos. Yep, a little bit of ephemera in there. That's right, number one. Serious history. Yep. David W. It's 6 o'clock Rambler time. That's right. So that is a cool clock. I do like it. It is neat. I was excited it still lights up and stuff. So it's actually my daughter's clock. I swiped it and borrowed it and hung it up in here. My dad got it for her for Christmas about 2 or 3 years ago. So I guess it's technically not even my clock. It was her Christmas present. But we could borrow it for tonight and everybody can check it out and enjoy it. And because that's what it's for, is to enjoy, because they're cool. It's actually a 1960. You probably can't see it, but clear down here in the corner, it is dated 1960. So the clock is 60 years old. And I think it's a great piece. So, trivia. Let's do a little trivia time. Tonight we're going to give away a Haviland can. This is a steel can, all metal. Still see the seam on the back. It has a little bit of surface rust up at the top. Still has decent colors though. And this is a Texaco Haviland can. Exceeds heavy duty requirements. So this is what's going to go out to the winner tonight. For trivia, we checked out a couple of big Chevy trucks the other night on the video, some 55 to 59s. They were both big trucks that we basically just have the sheet metal from, which is fine. That's all I'm worried about. One was a super cool Gulf delivery truck for Gulf-Tane. The other was a big Spartan 80. Randall's on with us. Glad you made it, Randall. What town did that Spartan 80 come from? Said it right on the door when we talked about it. So what town did that Spartan 80 truck come from? Facebook is still up. We've got a few people on there, so I'm going to keep an eye on both formats for tonight's winner as we move along into start talking about the raffle. The raffle, 2 weeks from now, we're going to give these away. The Chrysler Hemi industrial valve covers. Nope, it's not Joplin Big Job. But got a pair of these that's going to go out to the winner. Be sure to get your chances bought. They're $1 a chance. You send me $5, you go in the big Buick can 5 times, $10, 10 times, etc., etc. I'm going to ship these to the winner here in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from tonight, we're going to do the drawing, and we'll also announce the next raffle for August. So this one we did end up running long because I missed so much of June with Rocky Mountain Race Week and things like that. So super cool. I love the script on these old Hemi valve covers. I've got several different variations of them, but not enough of them. I don't have Imperial. I don't have Marine, but I do have a bunch of them. But I love Hemi valve covers. They're super cool wall hangers, and they're great pieces to have. So no winners popped up yet, so I'm still watching. Like I said, everybody that has paid so far is already in the big Buick can. Your names are in there right now. And I can tell you who I've got so we know. Make sure if you're not in to get in. I will post a reminder next week, but we will not be on live to talk about it. No, that's not it, number one. Okay. George is in. William, you are in. Lee Carr is in. And Jason Withrow is in. That's all we've got so far. So be sure to get your chance sometime over the next couple of weeks. You still have time to mail them to me because I will be back in time to get the mail prior to the drawing. If you want to put it in the mail, or you can PayPal me, that information is on the posts. No winners as of yet. Jim, yeah, I should still have doors for 52 Dodge half-ton truck. So give me a shout either right after we get off tonight or tomorrow, and I'll get the details about which ones you need and things like that. But I should still have some of those in stock. Nope, it wasn't Arkansas. This is on the Spartan. Corky's on with us. Glad you made it tonight. So, where was the Spartan from? That's what we're watching for. We got some good guesses coming in, but nobody's got it yet. Be sure to get your chances in and on the raffle and see who's going to take home those Hemi valve covers, or the second prize of the Champlin steel oil can that has some really great colors on it as well. So, still watching. Still don't have a winner. It is not the Arkansas truck. We're talking about the Spartan. So, new inventory. I did pick some more stuff up this week. Got another super cool consignment listed for F&E. There we go. Lee got it. Roselle. That truck was from Roselle, Kansas, is where that thing was from. Which is actually about 40 miles west of me. So best time to call me, probably tomorrow, anytime after 8 in the morning, Mike, is the best time to call me. I'll usually answer from about 8 to 8 during the day. Is when and if you miss me, if I don't answer, it's probably because I'm on the phone with somebody else. So just give me a call or leave me a quick message, and then I'll call you right back after I get done. But yeah, you've got to leave me a message because my phone rings constantly. So if you don't leave me a message, I assume you're trying to sell me a car warranty or something. So Old School likes the 92 Caprice. Yeah, that 92 Caprice is a slick car. It's going to make somebody an awesome cruiser. It's great. I love that car, but there again, I can't keep everything. I keep too much stuff the way it is, it seems like. But that 92 Caprice is going to make somebody a slick old cruiser. If you haven't caught the video on that, you might take a look at it. Know somebody looking for one, have them give me a shout. That's a neat old car. Then there again, just like we've been talking about, a 92 is an old car. It's almost 30 years old. And in Kansas, 35 is an antique. And in some of the states where you guys are at, 25 is an antique. So new inventory this week that I picked up an S10, which doesn't sound that exciting. But I started doing a little bit of looking at it, and I looked at the build date, and the build date was really early. So that's kind of odd. So I did a little looking. They started the first S10 was branded as it was modeled as an 1982 model year. This truck was a build date of 81, November of 81. So it's a very, very early S10. And there again, the truck's 40 years old. It's crazy to think about it, but that truck is 40 years old. So actually a little more excited about that than I thought, being a super early production S10. I thought that was kind of interesting. Jess, where do we bring it to the lead sled? I'm not taking any cars to the lead sled. We're going up to look around, check it out, check out the swap meet, check out the bicycles, check out the cars, see who's going to be there. Hopefully get to see Gene Winfield again, things like that. So, that's right. Big job. The low ride community would be in heaven with it. And it's a great car, and there again, and a lot of those guys, I mean, those low riders, they built some amazing stuff. It's not my particular cup of tea, but those guys put just as much love, just as much heart, just as much soul, and just as much craftsmanship into those low riders as a lot of us do on our cars. So got a lot of respect for a lot of those guys that do it too. Yeah. Let's wait till Nate's 6-year-old sees the 92 Caprice. That's true. The Spartan was from Kansas. Chopper one. Lee was our winner. It came from Roselle's where it came from. So, but it was a fairly local truck to me. That's perfect. Dan just put up another building. Space problem solved. That's what you think. That's what I did 4 years ago. I built a brand new building 4 years ago, and I don't think I could put another car in it. Right? I could, if I jockeyed a couple things around, I could put another car in it probably. So that's right, Old School. Saying you have too many cars, like saying you have too much money or enough money. That's a very good way to put it. So, that's right. Nate says if it was a wagon, he'd be all over. If it was a wagon, it might not be for sale. But it is a neat car, and it is a cool car, and it's a pretty nice old car. That car literally still had the handicap license plate on it when I bought it from the old lady that had been driving the car. So it is a neat old car. It is going to make somebody a great ride. It may turn into a low rider. I don't know. But those guys love their cars just like we do. So it's a cool ride, and somebody's going to have a lot of fun with it. His first ride was a 65 Chevelle wagon. Yeah, I love wagons. So Lee's right in there with us. You can never have a big enough garage. Old School, where's the largest vintage car lot in the U.S.? Arizona? That I don't have any clue. I know that the one in Arizona is huge. I think they're around 100 acres. So that's probably definitely one of the biggest, if not the biggest. But that one is big. Yeah, I've never been there. I've just heard about it. But yeah, I know that one's huge. I remember hearing or seeing one time they said 100 acres on that one. So picked up the 82 S10 this week. Picked up a couple of Impalas, actually local, even right here in town, just on the edge of town, and some stuff I didn't have really. A 69 and a 70. The only thing I had in 69 and 70 was a half and half. I had a 70 Impala 4-door with a 69 front clip on it. Only thing I had in 69 and 70. And those cars are starting to get popular. There's not a lot of them out there, for that 2-year body style. And actually, these are both 2-door hardtops, a 69 and a 70 Impala custom 2-door hardtops. And then in the 69, there's no motors or trannies in either one, but the 69 was actually a big block car too. So definitely get some good pieces on that, especially being 2-door hardtops. That stuff's tough to find. Was definitely glad to get a hold of those cars and add those to the collection. Kevin says, where is that in Arizona? That I do not remember for sure. Yes, old school. I do get calls from all over the world. Shipping can be a challenge a lot of times. But not only shipping, but payment can be a hassle. There's a lot of logistics and a lot of work that goes into international shipments. I do a little bit of it, but I try not to, just because of the excessive amount of work that it takes. And for as busy as I am anyway, it's difficult to add more work to my plate. Let's see. Yes, Chopper 1. I still have the Henry J's. Let's see. Okay. Old school says he doesn't know for sure where it's at either. He just saw a YouTube video on it. So that's what, the 6970 Impalas I picked up, the 82 S10 I picked up. That's it, right, Jess? Desert Valley. That's it. Desert Valley Auto in Phoenix. I'm sure that's the one we're all talking about. So, got that stuff picked up this week. Got another super cool consignment for the F&E Collector Auto Auction. If you haven't been on here for a while, or if you're fairly new to us, I also own a collector auto auction called the F&E Collector Auto Auction with my partners. We do that every October. Got a neat consignment listed for that this week. Don't have it up yet. I've got a few pictures of it that we're going to try to post tomorrow. They're not very good because this thing is so buried. But it is a 1937 Ford pickup that is still owned by the daughter of the original owner. Truck's never been touched. It's a patina truck. It's got some dings and dents and scuffs and scratches, and the fenders have been welded where they cracked. Buried in a garage right now. I got a few shots of it. Can't see it real well, but this thing is awesome. Such a cool pickup. I can't wait to get the thing out. I shot a few pictures of it as is, where is. We'll try to get those up on the website tomorrow. But it's a neat consignment. Truck is still on, and we've got to do some checking to see how we're going to handle this, because the truck still has the original title from July of 1937. I don't know how many 37 Ford pickups are still out there, still titled to the original owner, but there can't be very many of them. The the garage it's in now, it's been in here for about 20 years. They moved it into this garage about 20 years ago. Prior to that, it was parked in 1957. So this truck was driven from 37 to 57 and parked inside in 57 and has not seen the light of day since, other than being moved a couple times to different storage facilities. Has never been on the open market, has never been offered for sale since the day it was sold new in July of 1937. So it's good. I'm really excited to get it out, do some video on it, and check that thing out. So should have it up on the website tomorrow. Be sure to check that out, feclassiccarauction.com. We've got some other cool consignments starting to come in. We've got a few of them up already, and looking forward to a great weekend in October, on October 2nd, for some super cool stuff that we're going to be running across the auction block at the F&E Collector Auto Auction. So was really excited about that, and you guys need to check that thing out once we start getting pictures posted of it as well. Videos this week. I've got one more from the Auburn Cord Duesenberg Company. One more video of some more of their parts. That's how many parts this place has. It is packed everywhere. And, compared to what I've got with 1,500 cars and stuff, it's not a lot. But when you're talking specifically Auburns and Cords, it is crazy how much stuff they've got for Auburns and Cords in stock. I've got another video coming up of the pasture tours of this 25 or 26 car load that I just bought. So that will be coming up. Jess says the auction's awesome. Everybody should go. And Jess and Rico did come out last year, had a great time. And it's Jess's birthday month. Oh, geez, we're starting that already. It's only July. We don't just start your birthday month already. It's just July. We got plenty of time before we got to worry about your birthday month. So we'll have another farm pasture tour coming up of some more of this stuff out there. Plus, of course, new inventory. I've been dragging so much stuff in. We've got lots of new inventory stuff coming up as well. So getting ready to wrap up. Chopper One, did I enjoy Rocky Mountain Race Week? We had a great time on Rocky Mountain Race Week. If you didn't catch those videos, be sure to go back and check those out. I've got several of them up from different parts of the trip. We had a blast, had a great time. It is an awesome event. Strongly encourage anybody to at least check out part of it. 2.0 is coming up, and it's an amazing time. It's a great event with a ton of great people and a ton of great friends. And it doesn't matter if you know anybody or not, because you know everybody when you get there. And Jess is seconding that as well. Because Jess and Rico did run with us this year in our group, and we had a blast. So, yes, had a great time on Rocky Mountain Race Week. And like I said, if you're curious about it, go back and check out some of the videos that I posted, but plus, lots and lots of other YouTubers on Rocky Mountain Race Week. Ton of content out there. But it is a great time. It's an amazing trip, and it is a blast. So definitely strongly encourage anybody to participate. And even if you can't get into Race Week, get into Road Week. Run with the crowd, roll with the group, hang out at the hotels, hang out at the track, and have a great time. So that's about what I've got for tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Once again, no chat next week since I will be on the road, and I don't know if where we'll be at 7 o'clock next Sunday night, whether we'll be stopped somewhere, whether we'll still be rolling, or what we're going to be doing. So at this point, we will plan on not doing chat next Sunday, but we'll be back in 2 weeks live at 7 o'clock and give away a pair of awesome industrial Chrysler Hemi valve covers. We'll get those shipped out to the new winter. We'll announce the new raffle for August, and we're going to have a great time. So stay tuned, everybody. Lots of cool stuff coming up this week. We will do Toy Tuesday live again Tuesday night on YouTube. Be sure to stay tuned for that. Thanks, Big Job. Glad you enjoyed it. Thanks, Chopper One. Glad you enjoyed it. And like I said, I don't always catch all the comments, but I really do appreciate all of your guys' support. The fact you guys come by, hang out with us. We have a great time on here. It's the middle of summer. We don't have as big a crowd as we typically do in the winter, because I know everybody's busy, and I know a lot of people have a lot of stuff going on. So I do appreciate you guys swinging by and hanging out. So even if I don't catch all the comments, I do catch some of them, and I do appreciate the support. But like I said, I'm going to get away for a couple days next week. Where we can actually get away for a couple days, not go to Oklahoma and work, and go on Rocky Mountain Race Week and work and do videos and race and still run just about as hard as I do during a normal week. So looking forward to that. I need a break, and can't wait for next Saturday for KKOA. It's always a great show. Always enjoy checking it out. Always have a good time there. Hope to see some of you there, and definitely stop me and say hi if you're there. So anyway, I'm going to sign off. We'll see you this week on some other videos. We'll see you live Toy Tuesday night. We will not see you next Sunday, but we will be back here 2 weeks from now to give away the valve covers and have another great time. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great week. Have a great 2 weeks. Hope to see some of you at KKOA. And if not, definitely hope to see you back here in 2 weeks, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time for Sunday Night Live Chat. Thanks, everybody. I do hope to get a break. I really do. And looking forward to it. So nothing else. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Hope to see you before then. Thanks for watching, everybody. And stay tuned for more cool videos this week.